Valkyrie Gloria, Durandal's Quantum Fire DPS battlesuit. Not only is this her first battlesuit, it is also the first battlesuit with the ability to throw enemies. Her leader skill increases the team's fire damage and also increases the total damage dealt by throw attacks. Her basic attack is melee, has 5 sequences, and deals physical and fire damage. The 4th sequence gains 1 extra SP on hit, and the 5th sequence ignites enemies. Valkyrie Gloria's unique passive, the Resolve Gauge, allows her to use her charge attack. It has 2 bars and maxes out at a value of 480 Resolve. Every hit from her 2nd, 4th, and 5th basic attack sequences gain 40 Resolve. With at least 240 Resolve, she is able to enter Sprint Stage 1. Every hit while sprinting deals physical and fire damage, and consumes 40 Resolve. After consuming 240 Resolve, she enters Sprint Stage 2, where her fire damage is increased. Releasing the attack button after consuming 240 Resolve also launches her sprint attack, dealing both physical and fire damage. Every 40 Resolve consumed increases the fire damage of her sprint attack by 40%. If less than 240 Resolve was consumed, she will use her first basic attack sequence instead. By consuming 100 SP, Valkyrie Gloria can use her ultimate skill, Eruptio Magnifica, leaping forward, pulling enemies in a small area, dealing both physical and fire damage. Additionally, her Resolve Gauge will be fully restored. She ends the attack by jumping back and throwing her lance at the initial point of impact, inflicting Quantum Implosion and activating Aura Ignis. While in Aura Ignis, Valkyrie Gloria gains higher resistance to interruption, and the Resolve gain from her basic attacks is doubled for 15 seconds. She also gains a 50% increase in total damage, and increased fire damage for her next basic attacks on enemies who have been hit by her 3 times. Aura Ignis also enables her to use a different form of her charge attack, Decisive Blow, when at least 240 Resolve is available. It deals both fire and physical damage, and increases her total damage by 0.2% for every point of Resolve consumed. Additionally, every 240 Resolve consumed during her sprint attack or Decisive Blow grants her a Fiery Will stack. Decisive Blow grants yet another 2 stacks when used. Fiery Will increases Valkyrie Gloria's fire damage by 6% and incoming total damage reduction by 5% for every stack. If maxed out, the final hit of Decisive Blow will deal additional fire damage. When enemies are time-slowed by teammates, Valkyrie Gloria's QTE can be triggered. She enters the field with a powerful attack dealing physical and a high amount of fire damage while gaining 240 Resolve. Upon activating her evasion skill, Valkyrie Gloria triggers a global time fracture. She also gains up to 220 Resolve and enters her combat focus state for 4 seconds. While in this state, she attacks with her 5th basic attack sequence and can use it repeatedly by performing a normal evasion, then tapping the attack button immediately after. Every hit gains 3 SP and 40 Resolve. Her 5th basic attack sequence also gains a 40% total damage increase while in her combat focus state. In addition to all her abilities, Valkyrie Gloria deals up to an additional 55% fire damage against ignited enemies. Durandal introduces a new weapon type, the Lance, that enables her to throw enemies with its active skill. Lance active skills do not consume SP, and using the active skill with Valkyrie Gloria activates a global time fracture. The throw attack animation changes with the enemy it's used on. Additionally, when enemies perform certain actions, a throw counter can be used. Throw counters deal less damage, but have no cooldown. Performing a throw with the weapon active skill or inflicting Quantum Implosion gains 480 Resolve, while throw counters gain 240. Along with the introduction of her first battlesuit, 2 5-star lances and 1 4-star lance have been added to the arsenal, with one of the 5-star lances, Eos Gloria, being obtainable from the Focus supply, and the other, Lucia, from the event accompanying the release of Story Chapter 15. The 4-star lance can be forged in the Foundry. They all share the same weapon active skill, with no SP cost and a 25-second cooldown, but with different damage values. After a successful throw, Eo's Gloria generates a flame aura which follows the wielder for 11 seconds, causing enemies in it to take additional fire damage. The flame aura also deals fire damage while active. Its passive ability grants the wielder a 4% fire damage increase for 8 seconds. This buff can be stacked up to 10 times, but each stack has its own duration. When the wielder's ultimate or throw attack hits an enemy, 10 stacks are immediately gained. Lucia activates a Fire Mantle, which reduces incoming total damage by 30% for 10 seconds after a successful throw. Its passive ability increases the wielder's fire damage and grants yet another increase in fire damage against ignited enemies. Every part of Leeuwenhoek, her signature Stigmata, provides an unconditional damage boost. The secondary passive of each part has its own trigger, but can be fully activated with the 2 or 3 set abilities. The T part provides a 20% damage increase and additional 4% total damage for every 10% HP lost. The total damage bonus can be stacked up to 4 times and can be activated for 10 seconds by performing a throw attack. The M part provides a 20% total damage increase and an additional 20% fire damage increase when an ultimate evasion is performed. And the B part provides a 20% fire damage increase and yet another 25% total damage when the wielder uses switch attacks or attacks ignited enemies. The total damage buff lasts for 10 seconds. Leeuwenhoek's 2-set ability grants the wielder an unconditional 15% total damage increase. When an ultimate attack is used, a 15% fire damage increase is granted for 12 seconds, and all secondary passives on each piece is activated. This ability has a 20-second cooldown. The 3-set ability grants a 2% incoming total damage reduction each time an enemy is ignited and stacks up to 15 times. When equipped on Durandal, the 2-set ability is automatically triggered when she enters the field. Being a fire elemental battlesuit allows Valkyrie Gloria to utilize a wide range of stigmata. Other stigmata options include Shakespeare M, the generic fire set of Higokumaru T and B with Niwa M, any part or combination of parts from Thallas, mainly with the T and M parts, and any part or combination of parts from Fuhua Margrave, also mainly with the T and M parts. In battles against a single opponent or up to 3 enemies, Jingwei T and M with Fuhua Musician B, Fu C B, or Darwin B can be used as both a cost-effective option and a relatively strong fire set. When dealing with a higher amount of enemies, Juga Kongming T and Higokumaru Foremost M can be used to replace Jingwei T and M. With the combination of being a fire elemental and a quantum type, Valkyrie Gloria can be teamed up with a wide range of Valkyries. Leader skills requiring 3 different types in a team, like Azure Imperius, Vermilion Knight, and Blood Roses, can be effectively utilized. With Azure Imperia being a top-tier elemental support, even more so for fire DPS, while Vermilion Knight and Blood Rose can wield Blood Dance. Secondary supports include Phoenix, Wolfsdawn, Phantom Iron, Scarlet Fusion with Blood Dance, Flame Sakitama with Florid or Ruinous Sakura, and Sukunu Rondo with the Super Dimension Sonata. Support equipment include Jing Shantan's full set, or TNM with Isaac Newton B against bosses, Fuhua Margrave's full set or at least T and B on Azure Imperia, and Caravaggio T and M for Phantom Iron or Wolfsdawn. Fuhua Musician T and M with Royal Amundsen's full set can work as cost-effective options as well. With the ability to inflict Quantum Implosion, Valkyrie Gloria can be effective against Quantum-type enemies. Her throw ability can help against bosses and can also be used defensively as she enters an iframe when using it. Due to the nature of her skills and signature equipment, she is very much suited for drawn-out battles and will perform better in the Abyss stages than the Momoro Arena.
デュランダ、指示をください。覚悟してください。